Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Conversations Are My Thing. I'm your host, Trinity Jackson. I know we haven't talked in a while. I apologize, I missed you. I hope you've missed me. But let's not even talk about that. Let's get into today's topic because if you can't tell, I am excited. I'm bursting from the seams with joy about what we're going to be talking about today because it's been running through my head a lot, running through my head, running through my journal, running through my voice memos on my phone. It has literally been obsessive. I've been obsessing over this one concept for the last few days. So I'm like, you know what? Let's talk about it. First things first, I want to go ahead and shout out anyone that has been listening to this podcast and waiting for a new episode and not judging me for not putting anyone out because I've been struggling with my consistency. What can I say? But a lot of things have happened in the last few weeks and months to show me that I need to be focused more on the things that I enjoy doing, that pay me well, that put me in a position to have impact over time. And this is one of those things. So I'm getting back into it and I'm excited to be able to start this journey again with each and every single one of you. Whew. So I want to start this episode off with a story because something great has happened I want to talk about, and it's kind of be the premise of everything we're going to be getting into today. So I dabbled in social media management for like 1 or 2 months, and it started off as I was like, okay, let me just figure out how I can find clients because I'm good at social media. I can just help someone else make videos. I had an esthetician that I was making videos for, and she was really happy with the work I was doing for her. I found her through my dad. My dad literally put me on. She's like, hey, this is my daughter. She makes social media videos. I think she can help you grow your page. Cool. We get together, and then we agreed that she'll give me a facial, I'll make a video about the facial and help her grow her business. It's going to be that kind of exchange, and then eventually we can get into doing paid deals. We started off the first month being free, then we're going to get into like payment. I wasn't even tripping because I'm like, I just want to do something. I just want to see if I could really do this. So it went well, and she was really happy with her results. She's like, happy with the work that I did for her and the results that she got from it and the videos I was making, and she's like, wow, this is amazing. So she was telling other people about me, like 4 other people she told about me. Like, hey, this is my social media manager. She does really great work. Hit her up. So she had 1 or 2 people hit me up, and then one individual in particular hit my line, and he was a sommelier. And a sommelier, for anyone who doesn't know, right, who isn't as versed in the finer things. No, I'm kidding. Because I didn't really know what it was until I met this individual. But a sommelier is basically a fancy wine taster. They go to restaurants, they taste wine, they buy the wine menu for the restaurants, or like if a table comes in, they'll give them suggestions, whatever. It's a sommelier. And he wanted to start making content on social media. He didn't have any product he was selling. He literally just wanted to share his love of wine with the masses. So I had been talking to him for like a week or two. And then he's like, you know what? I want to move forward. So I was like, okay, let me figure out how I would go about this. I'm going in ChatGPT trying to figure out how I would set this deal up. And he was like pretty open to everything I was saying. So I set up a contract using ChatGPT, and I signed a 3-month contract with him to be his social media manager and help us grow his page on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. We're actually currently still working together. He's honestly the only client I have on contract right now because I don't want to continue social media management long into the future because of what we're going to talk about today. But as I'm working with him, the first time we show up, I literally pull up with my phone and I'm recording. And he doesn't have a problem with it. He doesn't care. I put my phone, I'm recording, I built his TikTok, and which goes to show, sidebar, you don't need a whole bunch of the finest things to start making content, period. He was paying me literally $1,200 to pull up with my iPhone and make videos. I literally can't make it up. I'm making content for him. I'm a social media manager. We're having a good time. And then as I'm talking to him one day, as we're making content, he tells me that a while back, a couple of years ago, he had bought a camera. He never really learned how to use it. And because he had thought about making content a long time ago, but never did it. So I'm like, oh, okay, let me see the camera you're working with. Let me see what you got. He hadn't taken it out of the box in 3 years. So he had this really nice camera sitting in a box for like the last 3 years. I pull it out. I'm looking at it. Mind you, I don't have a camera, but I had been looking into buying one. Actually, like a week prior to us meeting, A week prior to me meeting him for the second time for our second content shoot, I had actually ran into one of my friends who was about to sell their old Canon camera so they can upgrade to a Sony, and they were going to sell me the camera for like a low rate, but they were going to sell me the camera and I was going to buy it from them. Literally, this was a week before my second time meeting him. We're talking about the camera. I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, this is a really nice camera. I can't believe you never used it. And as we're shooting that day, before we leave, I'm like, how about you let me borrow this camera and I'll learn how to use it so I can shoot better content for you. So I can stop shooting content on my phone. I can start shooting content on this camera. He was like, okay, cool. I'm like, really? You ever ask about something and you kind of just throw it out there? Because one thing I'm really big on is you never know until you ask. Okay? So now that I'm older, I am in the habit of asking. I will ask. You have to ask because you don't know until you ask. I asked him if he would be open to letting me leave with his camera so I can learn how to use it. He said, sure. I'm like, all right. Okay. So I put the camera. Not only does he have the camera, he has 3 batteries, 3 SD cards, a full camera bag, 5 terabytes of memory, something that allows me to, an SD card reader, that's what it's called. It had everything that you needed to start making content, like, was in this bag, and he let me leave with it. Literally over $1,000 worth of camera equipment. And I'm like, okay, cool. So the next time I come, I bring the camera. We're shooting with the camera, and I also notice he has a MacBook in its box, literally a MacBook Pro in the box that has not been touched for 3 years as well. He's a perfect example of people that think that before they start making content, they have to buy all the things, and they buy all the things. They don't know how to use the things, so the things never get used. So he had a nice $1,000 camera and a $1,000 MacBook in the room, literally sitting in a box. So I'm like, you know what? He let me take the camera. Let's see about this MacBook. Please ignore Bunny, who would like some head scratches right now. So I decide, okay, he already let me leave with the camera. Let me see about this MacBook. So I'm like, hey, what if you let me borrow this MacBook so that I can edit your videos better? And it has more storage with the terabytes. I can use everything you let me borrow from the camera bag. So that way, we can make better content. He was like, okay. So I went from literally in the process to I was in the process about to buy a camera for like $500 or $600, which wasn't a crazy amount, but we were negotiating the price. I went from about to buy a camera and thinking about getting an iPad to the camera that I'm literally recording this on being given to me. I'm pretty sure he's going to eventually give it to me because he never was using it. And this MacBook. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. It was really divine intervention. It was divine timing. But that's why I said that's what we're gonna be talking about today, because even though I was so blessed and grateful that the opportunity came to me, I've used the camera and MacBook every single day since getting it. And I just am so glad that I was able to even come across an opportunity like this, because we still have a whole month to work together. And honestly, he really didn't care that I took the camera. It wasn't really that big of a deal to him. He makes really good money. He had never used it in 3 years. These are both things that he didn't use for 3 years. So to him, it didn't mean anything. To me, it meant everything. And it was just like the right place, right time, right opportunity. And I asked the right question. Sometimes you just don't get what you want in life because you don't ask. I always just say, the worst thing that he could have said, was no. If you hear that sound, my dog just joined me on the couch. We're going to ignore her because it's only she ignores me. We're going to ignore her. But that's kind of what I want to talk about today. Now, content creation is something I've been enjoying for the last few years. I honestly was always making content. Even in high school, I had a camera and I would bring it to school, and I would bring the camera through school and show them, just recording a bunch of things. I've been the person that has a camera around me. So now that I've been able to earn income making the same videos I was making for free, I'm like, wow, I could really see myself doing this, taking it more seriously and doing it full time. I had thought about it and I was making little moves to make it happen, but I still hadn't made a fine decision that this is what I want to do. On July 26th, which was a couple days after my birthday, I had taken some mushrooms, and I had a lot of revelations during that time. I journaled for 8 pages. I made a 4-hour recording of myself, just talking to myself in the mirror about where I was, but more importantly, where I wanted to be. And on that night, I definitely made a decision that this is what I want, and I'm willing to stake everything on what I want. I'm willing to stake everything on this dream that I have, that this is something that I can do, because I wouldn't see it so clearly if it was not possible for me. I'm a firm believer that the vision you have in your mind is for you and no one else. I've never desired to be a lawyer. I've never desired to be a dentist. There are people that die and wish they could why did I say die? There are people that would love nothing more than to be a lawyer. There are people that would love nothing more than to be a dentist, would love nothing more than to run a bakery, than to whatever the case may be. Everybody has their different vision for their life, and mine has pointed me in the direction of creating videos and being someone that can inspire and educate and impact others through social media. And for a while, I was like, hey, I was worried about how other people would perceive it, so I wasn't really taking it as seriously as I thought I should. And honestly, if you've watched my content, you'd probably be like, wow, like, you weren't taking it serious already? It seems like I'm always posting, which is true. It does seem like I'm always posting, but I'm still not firing on all cylinders. I don't like to compare myself to others, because I know that if I had to run my own race and do everything that I was capable of doing and be at my full capacity, I would be doing more. But since I see, they're only doing 3 videos a day, so me doing 3 videos a day is cool enough, or they're doing 1 video a day, so, 1 video a day is pretty cool. When in reality, I know that I can have multiple pages with content being produced on a regular basis, because I have no shortage of ideas that I want to do and things that I want to try and document. And even when it comes to podcasting, things that I want to talk about. So the hindrance for me was comparing myself to people that were doing just enough or less, and being like, since I'm doing a little bit more, it's cool. Because this is so-and-so and they're not doing as much as I am, so it's cool. Or this is so-and-so and they're doing just as much as I am, and it seems like we're what and what, so it's cool. When in reality, it's not. I'm not operating at my highest capacity. And Alex Hormozy has something that he said that really resonated with me, and I really am so glad I heard it. And since hearing it has made my decision a lot easier. He says, it's called his rule of 100. Shout out to Alex Hormozy, by the way. He just dropped $100 million leads. If you don't have it, get it. And once you get it, read it again, and then read $100 million offers. But anyways, the rule of 100 states that if you do one thing for 100 minutes a day for 100 days, you're going to make $100,000. It's very simple. You see how quickly I said that? It's a very simple concept. And 100 minutes a day is really not that long. That's really not that long. I spend more than that editing content every single day. And since putting more time into it, I have made more money in the last 2 months than I have ever made just creating videos, which is insane to even say out loud. But I've been working for a long time to get to the point that I am in, to where I can even consider being a full-time content creator, to where it even is an idea. And I had thought so much about, what if this happens, and what if this, da-da-da-da. And so many people, sometimes me, go to, what if this and everything falls? But then what if this and everything goes up? What if it's not a bad what if? What if it's a good what if? What if everything works out? What if you get the brand deals and then some? What if this takes off? What if everything works out in your favor? And I started focusing on the good things that can happen, which is what we're going to be talking about today, and why I think that I even came to acquire this camera and laptop is because I started focusing on all the good that I expected to happen because I took this seriously. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to act as if I'm already a full-time content creator. I'm already making full-time income doing this, which right now, I'm not going to lie, in these last 2 months, I have made full-time income creating content, which has been great. So it's been easier for me to act in accordance with the things that I want and schedule a daily time, like make a daily schedule that is aligned with the things that I know I want to do. Social media management was cool, but it's not what I want to do. I don't want to focus on building someone else's social media. I know that I want to focus on building mine. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to focus on this as if it was something that I'm already able to achieve and I'm already in alignment with. So my mind was focused on that. Every morning, I'm thinking, I started looking for a new camera. I started looking to see if I can get an iPad so I can have something else to edit on. I was looking for the things that would make this easier. I was searching for how much it would cost, how much I would need to set aside, how much I would need to earn. And once I got an understanding of what the money would look like, how much I would need to earn for this to make sense and where I was going to get it, That's when things started to flow to me and literally fall into my lap. Literally fall in my lap. I can't even explain it otherwise. I'm a strong believer that when you start focusing on the things that you want, the universe will be like, oh, like it'll just toss you a little something, something. The camera and the MacBook was literally the best duo. Can we not right now, Bunny? Bunny, if those of you listening and not watching, my dog has gotten up and now she is literally in frame. I'm going to do my best to ignore her. She looks so cute though. Anyways, can you just move over a little bit? Yo, she is hilarious. I'm pushing her. She's literally leaning into my hand. She's leaning into my hand. Okay, we're not going to do this back and forth. Bunny, I'm going to ignore you. Oh my God. I think she's about to throw up. Oh, right now. Okay, 1 second, everybody. She's about to throw up. Ah! Wait. No. It's okay. Hold up, Bunny. Hold up. Wait. Anyways, before she emptied the contents of her stomach onto my couch, what was I saying? As I started focusing more on the things that I wanted and making a plan to attract it and making a plan to achieve it, like, okay, I got really familiar with how much it would cost me to get the camera, how much it would cost to get an iPad, where I was going to be able to make that money, then how much I would need to be able to make monthly to afford my expenses in my apartment. And then I was like, okay, well, what if I can bring my expenses down when I move to a different apartment? And I started taking actionable steps. And that is whenever I put myself in a position to start receiving things a lot easier, because the MacBook Pro and $1,000 camera falling into my lap was nothing short of divine intervention. When I tell you I was about to buy a camera, I was literally about to get it. And this just kind of showed me that. And it literally is everything I need to make content. It has made creating content so much simpler and so much easier because it's seamless. I record, I put everything on the SD card, I put the SD cards on the terabyte, and then I wipe it all, and I do it over and over again. And I'm just, first of all, I'm really grateful, but it's also as a result of my focus is me being able to realize that since I was in alignment with the things that I knew I wanted, it put me in a position to receive those things. Notice how I said it's when I started making the plans and writing down the things that I would need to do that things started coming to me. I feel like execution is the part that most people miss. And it doesn't have to be big, bold, brash execution every single time. Sometimes the act of writing down the plan of what you would need to do to get the things that you want is enough execution to start. One quote I got from Guy Kawasaki is, ideas are easy, implementation is hard. I feel like everybody has the potential to act upon their ideas and change their life within a year or two because of the things that they are doing actively. I heard a great quote that said, every year, each human is given at least 4 ideas that can make them $1 million. Which, honestly, I was like, I could see that. That makes perfect sense. Every year, you are given at least 4 ideas that could make you $1 million. And you probably can now pinpoint one of those ideas, like, okay, this is probably one of my $1 million ideas for the year. Something that you thought of that you're like, okay, if I did this, I could probably increase my income by da-da-da-da. Maybe you thought it was going to be a small increase. Whole time there was a large increase behind it. But regardless, you never acted on it, so you never knew. Everybody has the idea, especially when it comes to creating content. Oh my gosh, people hit me up all the time, like, oh, what should I do? Da-da-da-da, how can I do this? And what do I do this? Like, just start. I didn't know any of this before I started. You start, and then you will learn, and then eventually after you continue to learn, you have to remove the L and you're going to earn. I'm now in my earning phase because I spent so much time learning what kind of content I like, building my audience and things like that. I'm still building my personal brand. We're still just getting started. You have to learn before you earn. But every year, you're given some idea that could make you $1 million, even if it's only one. Let's say it wasn't 4. I believe it. It makes sense that every single year, everybody is given at least one idea that can make $1 million. So you kind of pay the ignorance tax every single year that you're not making $1 million because you don't know how to make $1 million. You're not acting on the ideas. So every year, let's say you make $50,000 a year, you're paying $950,000 a year because you don't know how to make $1 million a year. Because you're not acting on the ideas that are being given to you through the universe or whatever you believe in. But you have the ideas within you, the action. Sometimes you just have to believe that this is going to be the thing. I had to believe that this is going to be the thing. I was thinking about it, and there's also something else I've been pursuing, but I don't want to talk about it right now. But I was thinking about, I'm like, you know what? I think this is going to be the thing. I don't know why for a long time I did not want to address it or acknowledge that. Maybe because I thought that so many people thought being a content creator was already just worn out and and so many people have done it. It's not going to make you a lot of money and it's really hard and not everyone can do it. You start focusing on so many reasons why you can't do something that you forget why you can. And the moment I shifted my focus to, I can do this, this is how I'm going to do this, the universe is like, oh, well, here are some things to help you. Here are some things that I think will help you on this journey that you're on. Oh, here's a brand deal, boom, to confirm that you are on the right path. And if you keep going down this path, I will give you more of these things. Maybe your thing isn't going to be content creation, and that's cool. But you have an idea, something that you've been probably sitting on, that could make you, it could have already made you $1 million. It's like, it takes a lot of courage to take a leap of faith out of something that is not secure, not stable, you don't even know about. You don't have to quit your job and be like, okay, I'm going to run with this idea. You can just work part-time on your vision, full-time at your job. And eventually, you'll work full-time on your vision and part-time on your fortune. The only thing worse than having great ideas and not acting on them is having a great idea, not doing anything about it, and then seeing somebody else actually doing it. Oh, it's not, then you want to be like, oh, I thought about that. Like, I had that idea, but nobody is ever going to know or care. Because a lot of people think about things and never do them. Who cares? You thought about it. That's great. When the Ring doorbell came out, I saw someone, I don't remember what platform I was on, but when the Ring doorbell went crazy, and oh my gosh, everybody was like, oh my gosh, everybody has a Ring now. Everybody's doing it. Someone's like, oh my God, I literally had that idea. Who cares? You didn't make multiple millions of dollars from it. You didn't even put it on paper. Sometimes that's all you need to do to start the execution process is put it on paper. What is the idea? What would the idea look like if it came to fruition? How can you take one step towards making the idea happen? There is nothing worse than having $1 million idea be taken from you, given to somebody else, and they take action on it. And you're like, oh my God, I literally remember the day I thought that, but I didn't do anything with it. So here I am, still in the same place I used to be. I remember my mom had told me a story one time, and I still think about this because it's literally how I approach ideas now, that one day Michael Jackson, it was like 4 a.m., he had the idea for a song, and he said, I need to go to the studio right now and get this song out. Like, right now, I need to go to the studio right now. And he had found a little studio that was open at like 2 or 3 a.m. And he had came in, he recorded the song, and they were like, why did you need to come like right now? Like, you couldn't have done this tomorrow? Like, why was it so urgent? And he said, if I didn't make the song, Prince was. He said, if I didn't make it, Prince was going to make it. And that's something I think about all the time, because when I have an idea, I feel like I need to do it right now, because if I don't do it, I'm nervous and terrified that someone else is going to do it, and I'm going to literally throw up. I'm literally going to throw up on the floor if I see someone acting on things that I thought about and never told anyone about. I never verbalized, I never wrote down, never even took a step towards it, and they did it, and everybody's applauding them and clapping for them like, wow, how could you even think of such a thing? Oh, you're such a genius. You're so innovative. You're so creative. Whole time, I'm like, I literally thought of the same thing. And there's nothing worse. I think there's nothing worse, but it doesn't hurt. And I feel like you don't feel physical, like you don't feel the pain until you watch someone do it. It's kind of like the universe is like, oh, okay, like I'm going to give you this idea and I want you to run with it. And the longer you sit with it, the longer those months go by, you aren't doing anything with it. They're like, okay, well, if you're not going to do anything with it, that's fine. I understand. I'm going to take that idea and I'm going to give it to Mark. And we're going to give Mark a couple months. We're going to see what Mark does with it. And Mark's not doing anything with it. So like, okay, Mark, we gave you a chance. We're going to take your idea. We're going to give it to Stephanie. We give it to Stephanie, and Stephanie's sitting on it. Because nobody has enough faith and belief to get up and do the thing that the idea is telling them to do. Your vision is yours alone. No one else can see the things that you see. So you have to really believe that if you don't do it, no one else will. That's the way I have been thinking lately. I'm like, oh my God, I have to do it because if I don't, no one else will. And even if somebody else does it, they still can't do it the same way I will. So no matter what, especially when it comes to creating content, people be like, oh, well, so-and-so's doing that already. So-and-so's doing it already. I don't even care about so-and-so because so-and-so will never be Trinity Jackson on their best day. And I will never be them. So me doing me the way I do me is unique enough. I think that's why it's so easy for me to make as many videos as I make, because I don't care if someone's already made it. They didn't make it like me and they're not me. So I'm going to do it anyways. And I'm going to do it the way only I can do it. You have to realize that like the ideas you have and the vision you have, it is for you and for you only. And if you don't act on it, it's kind of like, well, they're either going to pass it on to somebody else and let them run with it, play with it, and let them do their thing. Or you're going to be the one to say, you know what? I actually feel like I can do this thing. I can make this happen for me and my family. Because there's generations of people before and after you that are going to benefit from you taking a stance to do what you see in your mind to be right. Okay? So as I've been focusing more on my content and the vision I see for myself, when I tell you things have been falling in my lap, just shows me that more is on the way. We're just getting started. So my suggestion to you for that idea that you know you have, that you know you've been sitting on, that you know you've been playing with, is just start small by just writing it down. What would this look like if it was all done? Or what would the step one look like? What would step one look like, hypothetically? I like to think in hypotheticals. When I'm starting something that's really big and makes me a little bit nervous, honestly, I like to think in hypotheticals. I'm like, okay, hypothetically, if I wanted to do this, what would it look like? That way it feels less stressful. It's not, oh my gosh, if I don't do this right, it won't work. It's just hypothetical. Let's just be hypothetical. Why you gotta be so serious all the time? Let's be hypothetical. Okay? So let's be hypothetical about our vision, our ideas, our goals, until we can put them on paper, make the plan, and work the plan so that the plan works. If you can, I'm so serious, like the things you see in your mind, you see for a reason. If you just had enough faith and belief to stand on those ideas and trust them, you could change your life in a year. And I know that because I'm working on changing my life. So make sure you stay tuned to watch the journey. Thank you for watching or listening. And if you're listening, make sure you head over to YouTube and get the full visual, especially if you want to see Bunny vomit on my couch. Bye.